What's up YouTube? Capital G here, checking out the first revealed cards for our good buddy Jim Crocodile Cook and his fossil archetype. One of the most underrated characters in Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. He did an absolute amazing job in Season 3. If you guys have never seen Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Season 3, I just cannot recommend it enough. It's so good. Anyways, this is coming out in the Collection Pack 2020 for the OCG, but we know more than likely this will be in our Battles of Legends for this year, which is scheduled to come out in July. Hopefully the COVID-19 doesn't change that, but I think that this is a pretty cool archetype. It's fusion based because it's from GX, so of course it is, and honestly they're off to a pretty good start. Anyways, let's go ahead and start with Fossil Fusion, which I'm almost certain, like 99% certain, that this was used in the anime. Fossil Fusion is a normal spell card. The hard once per turn is the second effect, and the first effect says fusion summon one fossil fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing monsters from either graveyard as material. If you banish monsters from both graveyards with this effect, the special summon monster cannot be targeted by monster effects. Second effect, if a face-up fossil fusion monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, and this card is in your graveyard, add this card to your hand. So this is kind of like a lot of people have said it's very similar to something like Invocation. We don't generally have a lot of fusion spells that let you use materials from both graveyards, which is obviously very nice. And I do like the fact that not only can you use your opponent's graveyard, the monster that you summon, if you do, is going to be able to get some targeting protection. In fact, I think that you can actually just use your opponent's graveyard. You don't even, I think I just realized that just now, you don't even technically have to use your own graveyard. You could just completely use your opponent's graveyard, which is absolutely bananas. And then obviously the second effect of this card, if the fusion monster that you summon with this card dies, you can just add this card back to your hand and then maybe use it during the next turn or use it for discard fodder. Honestly, I think this card is really good. Maybe not quite as good as Invocation, but honestly, it's like right on that level. This feels like kind of adjusted the power creep, and I feel like, Shadow Fusion probably started that, but the new wave of fusion spells have a bunch of crazy effects built into them, and this card is kind of on that same exact tier. Anyways, let's check out the fusion monster. So far, this is Paleozoic Fossil Night Skull King, and sadly, Paleo Frog fans, this is not related to your archetype, so don't get hyped quite just yet. This is a level 8 Earth Rock Fusion monster, 2800 attack, 1300 defense. The materials are one rock monster plus one level 7 or higher monsters. So if you guys thought that you were done seeing Block Dragon and you thought that Adamasya would be the only deck that plays it, nope, joke's on you. Turns out Fossil are gonna run Block Dragon as well. It says it must first be special summoned by Fossil Fusion, and your third effect is a hard once per turn. The first effect is it can make a second attack during each battle phase. The second effect is if this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. Third effect, the hard once per turn effect, is during your opponent's turn. This is a quick effect. You can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard. That is the cost. Discard one card, and if you do, special summon that target from your hand. This is actually a very impressive card, like low key. A lot of people have said that it's fairly similar, or I guess comparable to something like Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. I like the fact that this seems to be a very high damage card when you're talking about a monster that is 2800 attack that gets to do 2 attacks every single turn regardless of the situation, whether it's attacking a monster, attacking your opponent directly. Now we're starting to be in that Leo Dancer category. This card also does piercing damage, so if your opponent's trying to defend themselves by setting cards, that's not going to be a problem at all. I think the third effect is a little weird. Maybe we're gonna have to wait until we get more cards for the archetype, but because it's basically like you Monster Reborn something in your opponent's graveyard, but it's only during their turn. That is so bizarre to me. Now, the fact that it requires a cost or a discard is not really a problem, because the discard is not technically a cost. You don't actually discard until resolution of that effect. So if your opponent, like if you activate the effect, targeting the card in their graveyard is just the cost. So if your opponent uses something like Impermanence, you actually get to keep the card in your hand. That part of the effect I absolutely love, but I do think that this is kind of like a mini Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, and if you're going to summon this and it's untargetable by monster effects, now this card can actually do a little bit of damage. I don't love the fact that it has to be first summoned by Fossil Fusion, because honestly, with the materials of this card, this would have been like a perfect card for Super Polymerization. Like if your opponent Nibiru'd you, they basically give you the rock or the level 7 or higher monster. Actually, yeah, if your opponent Nibiru'd you, you technically have both of them on field. You could Super Poly straight into this, but that's just not going to be a play that, oh my god, that would have been so spicy. Summoning this off Super Poly would have been so amazing, because the token in Nibiru is all the materials that you need. But overall, I think that this is a very good start. I think this monster is just good enough. I would probably like to see another utility like fusion monster in this archetype, something with like hard disruption, because I don't really consider this hard disruption. It can technically work, you know, very similar to DD Crow under the new Master Rule 5 rulings, where you're moving cards that are mainly cost. Like if your opponent goes trade in on Bigfoot, Danger Bigfoot, you can, you know, summon the Danger Bigfoot before the Danger Bigfoot can activate. But overall, these are pretty good cards in my opinion. Like I think that this start so far is definitely respectable. So you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.